My name is Wheeler Winstead, and welcome to our second information session for the Foreign Language Area Studies and the African Language programs here at Howard. This session is being recorded so that if there is something that you missed or would like to have an opportunity to review again, you will be able to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we'll go ahead and just get started. So if you wouldn't mind, please turn off your mics and mute your mics and turn off your video, just so that it doesn't interfere with what we're going to be doing. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about the Center for African Studies. We're also going to then go into the Foreign Language and Area Studies Fellowships, the types, the requirements. We'll then talk about the application process. And then my colleague, Dr. Leonard Mwaka, will then share about the African language programs here at Howard University. So the Center for African Studies is a Title VI National Resource Center funded by the Department of Education. And it supports African-related teaching and research across Howard University. And we provide foreign language area studies or FLAS fellowships for both the academic year and the summer in form of tuition and support. And at the bottom of the slide, you'll see the information on the website where if you go there, you can get more detail on that. So there are two programs, but today we're really just going to focus on the summer program. As I said, we do provide academic year fellowships and summer fellowships, but we are going to focus on the summer fellowships and the African language summer programs tonight. So the deadline for the summer academic year FLAS fellowships began at November 1. The application process opened on November 1, and it closes January 31st, 2022. It is possible that we may extend that deadline, but right now that is the deadline. There are 7 African languages that are offered here at Howard: Arabic, Amharic, Somali, Swahili, Wolof, Yoruba, and Zulu. So it's important to know that the FLAS Fellowship is a funding source only. The student must choose the institution and the program in which they plan to apply the fellowship. And that the academic year, as I said, there are academic year and summer fellowships available. The academic year fellowship for 2022-2023 is not yet determined. And the spring academic year fellowship for 2022, we have a special special application process. And so we won't be talking about that. But the fellowships are available for both the graduate and undergraduate students. So the summer fellowship. The summer fellowship is available for both graduate and undergraduate, as I mentioned, and the FLAS provides a $5,000 tuition and a $2,500 stipend or living expense, and that tuition cost can be used for program-related expenses, and your $2,500 living expense can be used basically for anything for your living expenses during that time. So what is the general eligibility? You got to have a clear promise to complete your academic program. You got to have a plan to use your training somehow in your career. You got to have a good GPA, and there has to be a need. Now, these qualifications are primarily related to the academic year, but they are somewhat in effect for the summer. There is not as much the review of the financial need for the summer. But obviously, if you already have funding for a program, you will not receive double funding. The student must choose their own program. As I said, the FLAS Fellowships the FLAS Fellowship is a funding source. You can choose one of the academic program, one of the summer programs at Howard, or you could go to another program either in the United States or even abroad. And the fellowship can, as I said, be applied to both a domestic and an overseas program. However, all programs must be approved, excuse me, by the Department of Education, and you've got to receive grades and credits for the language courses. These are or have to be intensive language studies. So it's not, you cannot use a FLAS to simply travel abroad for excursions and for pleasure or pleasure mixed with study. These are intensive language programs that you can use the FLAS for. Excuse me. They have to be 6 weeks in length. And let me just stop for a minute right here. I need to go get some water. Pardon me. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so as I was saying, these are for intensive language studies, and that means you have to have at least 6 weeks, and they must be at least 6 weeks in duration, and offer at least 120 contact hours of instruction, and that's at the advanced or intermediate level. And you can see it's for 120 hours at the advanced level. If you are at the beginning or intermediate level, you must have 140 contact hours. So travel. We have not been able to travel for the past 2 years as a part of the FLAS program. However, travel has been lifted somewhat, and there is the potential to use the FLAS to travel abroad. However, you must check with the U.S. State Department, and the travel will be based on the guidelines that they set. So you cannot simply travel anywhere in Africa, but there are places you can travel, and that will again be determined by the Department of State. And what you need to do is you can go to that particular website that is highlighted at the bottom of the screen, and it will give you the information in terms of what countries you can travel to. If there is a travel advisory, travel caution, or travel is open, it will explain that. So again, you could use your FLAS for either one program, or sometimes you can even combine it with another program. If, for example, a program only has 4 weeks and you want to combine it with another program that has maybe 2 or 3 weeks, you are able to do that. And there is the potential to have it combined with some tutoring, but all of this has to be approved by the Department of Education. So well, let's talk about the application process. To be able to apply or to receive a FLAS, you must first complete a registration online. And these are the links that take you to the registration, both on our site. If you go to the Center for African Studies, there is a link on our site that'll take you to the application. Or if you want to go directly to the application, you go there. So what you need to complete the application are several things. One thing you'll need to have is a 500-word statement that basically should explain how will receiving a FLAS award contribute to your work, in your concentration, your research, your future professional study. And this statement has to be something other than, I just want to learn the language. You've got to show somehow that learning a language will contribute to your work, your study, your career aspirations. You also will need two references. If perchance you receive a FLAS and you are not able to complete the study, then you will be required to repay any expenses that you have been, if you received, if you received it up front, or your FLAS will be prorated on a monthly basis. This is a screen that shows you what it looks like when you go to the site. You must first register, and once you register, then you log in. Once you log in, then you are able to choose the program that you are applying for. You might see the spring application. However, that one is not open to the general public, but you should see FLAS Summer Fellowship, and that's the one you should click on, and that's what you should start to complete. Once you have completed all the different segments, you will be able to submit it. However, the very first segment is critical because that is what determines your eligibility. If you are not eligible, then you are not able to move forward. If you are eligible, then you will be able to move forward to complete the other section of the form. The basic eligibility at this point is you must agree to attend either a U.S. or a foreign program, and you must agree to participate in an intensive language course of either 6 weeks or 8 weeks. As I mentioned, if you are deemed ineligible, then you will not be able to complete your application. But let's say you made a mistake, clicked the wrong button, and you found out that you really believe you're eligible, but you hit the wrong button instead, and it wouldn't let you go forward. At this point, simply send me an email and we can make that correction. So once your application is submitted, you will be able to submit it as a final. However, you don't have to complete your application all at one time. You can save it as a draft and come back to it until the deadline date has been reached. And it is critical to know that all mandatory fields must be complete in order for your application to be considered final. So for more information on completing this, or on FLASC in general, I recommend that you go to our website and you simply click on this link, and it'll give you whatever you need in terms of information that we may not have covered today. So that's basically it in terms of my presentation. I want to now turn the presentation over to Dr. Leonard Mwaka, who's going to explain the summer African language programs that we offer here at Howard.
Okay, great. So everybody, hello and good evening. My name is Dr. Mwaka. I am the chair of the Department of World Languages, and I'm happy to see you because I know you're here for a good reason. The Department of World Languages, as you know, are we all from the department? I mean, do we take classes in the Department of World Languages and Cultures? You can simply use the digital reactions to let me know. Are you all students here? Okay. Yep, okay, good. So we have 6, 7 languages, African languages, and what we do is that most of them, we try to give students some form of experiential learning, and this is why we have study abroad programs that allow you to be able to, study abroad. Now, as Dr. Winston has already said, we do have our own programs that go abroad. You can obviously study elsewhere, but we prefer that you choose our programs. Very briefly, we have 2 programs that are very consistent. The GPA, which is for the advanced students in Swahili, and the GPA for advanced students in Yoruba. We also have Swahili, which is not really an advanced course. You can go there and start from 0, or you can go there and continue at an advanced level. So that is just something for you to pay attention to. We also have a study abroad that is often on to Ethiopia, but because of some logistical issues, it has not been going on. So just be aware of that. Now, Dr. Winston, if you could, go ahead. So the first one I want to begin talking about is HUSSA, which stands for Howard University Swahili Study Abroad. This program is 6 weeks. It is a program, usually we go to Tanzania and Kenya, but this coming summer, God willing, we will be in Kenya only because of the pandemic and the other restrictions that we have. Go to the next one, please. It is a program that allows you to interact with the community. However, within the, the confines, or within the, because of the ongoing pandemic, we're going to restructure it a little bit so that you just don't go into, a crowd of people, but that we find a good way to be able to work with you and for you to experience the cultural and historical richness of the regions we go to. So we definitely will have that. And again, as I said, this is a program that exposes you to learn the language, but also to immerse yourself in the culture. Go ahead. Now, it's 6 weeks. It is, you must have a mandatory orientation. And for this type of, the times we live in, we will definitely have to have orientation so that we can know what are the risks, what are the good things that we have to do to be able to successfully complete the 6 weeks that we have. This one will begin in Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. We'll be there for 1.5 weeks, and then we'll go to the coast of Kenya. We partner with Pwani University, and we will be there for the remainder of the program. So that will be 4 weeks. We'll do excursions in and along the coast where Swahili actually originates. And therefore, we're going to be able to really learn from the people who grew up learning the language or speaking the language, and you'll be getting both linguistic and cultural immersion. Okay, let's go on. The projected tuition or the projected fees for this particular program is 5,900. It also is a program that will accept money from FLAS. So if you choose to do a FLAS program, to apply for a FLAS, it can cover most of these. Do remember that this amount of money you're seeing here covers your airfare, it covers whatever we'll be doing in that country, but it doesn't cover tuition. So let's go to the next one. Tuition is covered differently. It is what FLAS can also give you. So FLAS, as you had, gives you 7,500 max. 5,000 of which goes to tuition, and 2,500 goes to your well-being and ability to cover other expenses like lodging, as well as food and other things that you may need. But the 5,000 is what will go towards tuition. So if you looked at that amount of money that I said, the cost is 5,900. That allows you to really be able to find a suitable kind of balance here. So if you have 2,500, you can actually pay for that. So that remains about 3,500. Then if you are in course, you apply for globalization, it gives you 1,000. That reduces your cost to just 2,500. And if you're lucky and you get what we call Lucy Morton, it can give you up to 3,000. And there are other scholarships as well that can actually come in, and you might get a refund if you have applied in advance, and therefore you also get credit for whatever you have taken as a student. And those credits you get are Howard credits. Okay, my contacts, as you see on that screen that Dr. Winston just showed you, you can email me at leonard.muaka@howard.edu, or you can call me using the first number, the second one. And if I'm not in my office, it will come to my email as voicemail. So don't stop when you say so-and-so is not available to pick up your phone. Just wait and give the details. The other person you can contact is Dr. Esther Lisanza, who will actually be in charge of the HUSSA. And her email is given as esther.lisanza@howard.edu. Okay, let's go to the next one. The other one that I want to very briefly talk about is the GPA. This is for advanced students. It's a federally funded program, and by the Department of Education. It admits students from the entire nation. So you compete with the students from across the nation. We take the best 15 students. So we have funding, and we are willing to sponsor students. We want Howard students to be the ones who apply for these programs, and we'll pay them. We'll give them, the money that will take care of what they need to do. So it covers a lot of things, and I think the next slide will give us more info. Yeah, this one is 8 weeks. Again, orientation is given. It is pre-departure orientation. We have at least 2 to 3 orientation sessions, which will be done via Zoom because we have students from across the nation. We do them normally over the weekend, maybe for 2 or so hours. You get to learn about the area where you're going. You get to learn about homestay, if we're going to have them. You get to learn about the institution that is hosting us, and you get to ask any questions that you have, because we want to prepare you not only linguistically, but also psychologically and culturally. This has always been a problem for students who go to a different culture and they have no idea what they're going to be encountering. Classes are intensive for, 5 hours per day in the morning, but in the afternoon, you can go and do your homework, you can engage with the family, you can do so many things that help you to build your language and become a really professional speaker, not just somebody who memorizes. So the cultural activities enforce and reinforce what it is that we have been taught in class. And you're taught by local people, local instructors. I only direct the program. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next one is we're talking about eligibility. Because it is federally funded, you must either be a US citizen or a permanent resident, and you must have at least taken 4 semesters, or if not, we can exempt you and waive those requirements if we test you and see that you are actually at that level. And also you have to show commitment to the African continent or studies, things that concern the continent, because these languages are supposed to help you become a very reliable resource person for the government and any other agency that works with the continent of Africa. Okay. The cost of this program, again, as I said, we cover your airfare, we cover accommodation, we cover all excursions, educational programming that we do overseas, and including tuition. The only difference with HUSSA is that you do not get a Howard credit. But if you are in the program, we should be able to say, okay, the student was participated in this program, we will give you, will exempt you, will give you credit, but not letter grade, but will say you've covered an equivalent of this number of hours, and therefore maybe 6 hours of Swahili learning at the advanced level. Okay. However, because of other things that are involved in this, the only thing we ask from the student is to pay $1,000. This $1,000 helps a lot in trying to do things within the US and prepare, for the program. You are also required to get yourself vaccinated. We don't cover that. And you are also supposed to be aware that we cannot cover your passport or visa fees. And where we go, the visa fees is just $100. So that is something at least that you can afford if you save well enough. I think that would be good. So you just need to be aware of what can be covered and what cannot be covered. But if your airfare from DC, Washington is guaranteed. Go ahead. Now, again, I am the contact person. Feel free to email me for more information about this program and the benefits, as I've already mentioned, they prepare you. But if you needed to know more, we are more than happy to to respond to your questions. The next one is the Yoruba GPA, a group program that takes people to Nigeria. This particular program also, just like the one we mentioned of the Swahili language, is 8 weeks. It is funded by the federal government, and you take language, which is an equivalent of 6 weeks, or rather 6 credits, sorry, which means those are like 2 semesters of Yoruba. And this one also allows you to engage with the community, the people that are there. We always partner with an institution in the home country that the language is spoken. So you can be sure that you will be at an institution where you will engage with other students like you, but of course there will be African students, and they will really enrich you culturally, as well as just the way people do things over there. The eligibility are very similar to the Swahili ones. You have to be a US citizen or a permanent resident. You have to have at least 2 or 3 semesters, but also by way of exemption or waiver, you can be allowed into the program, even if you have not taken all of those, because we'll test you, we'll interview you, and we'll tell you, yes, you're here. You also need to have recommendations from your instructors or somebody who knows your ability and commitment to the continent of Africa. Well, again, we pay for your airfare, your food, your local transportation in Nigeria. We also pay for tuition there, but we do not pay for your own planned trip locally. We only pay for what the program has arranged for you. And of course, you will have to pay $1,000, which is just for administrative purposes. It helps us to prepare ourselves in the US, because the money that Fulbright gives cannot be used in the US. It can only be used on the other side of the continent. So that's something that you want to know. And we urge you, if you're interested, to immunize yourself, to make sure you're up to date with the immunizations, to be aware that this is a pandemic time, and therefore vaccines are going to be required of us and of you, because we want you to be safe. That's our priority. Now, again, given what we know, that it's a pandemic time, we may adjust some of this, the dates, but we know that these 2 programs, the Yoruba and the Swahili programs, will both begin on June the 12th, 2022, and run until August the 4th, the 5th. So because they're 8 weeks, so we count 8 weeks from the 12th, and then students come back. The other one, which was the HUSSA program, is 6 weeks. Students will go on the June the 12th, they go with the other students, but they come back on the 25th of July. So 2 weeks apart, a difference of 2 weeks. The contact information for Yoruba is Bayo Omolola, whose email is also given there. Usually it's the first name dot the second name at howard.edu, and the phone number is also there. You can also reach us through our secretary in the Department of World Languages, and we'll be able to respond to your queries. And of course, if you have any question even about the Yoruba and you ask me, we should be able to respond to you. And this is the moment for you to raise some questions that you may have, and we'll try to respond to them as much as possible. Kevin.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Mwaka. So I wanted to clarify what is the eligibility for the Fulbright Hayes Swahili GPA. I noticed that it said be a US citizen, have taken 3 or 4 semesters of Swahili. And then the last one, I can't recall that one. But I noticed that the eligibility for the Yoruba project was that a participant would have to be a student. So is it necessary that an applicant be currently enrolled at a university in order to apply?
So I'll try to respond to the question. One, yes, you're right. You have to be a citizen and you have to be or a permanent resident. You don't have to be in the US at the moment. You can be anywhere else and still apply. And also, a recent graduate can actually apply and get into the program. So there is no problem for both programs. That is what the Fulbright office, and it manages all of these programs, whichever language it may be. So yes, if you are a recent graduate, so that assume you finish your degree in the spring, you can still qualify if you're one of the best. But you cannot use FLAS. FLAS does not allow you to, you can't use FLAS if you have already left Howard or if you're not at the institution. So that's one thing you want to know. In terms of the level of language, yes, it is for advanced, and that's why we talk about the 2 semesters or 3. And then, but again, I said, if you show proficiency at a higher level, that you have the potential to do even better, then you will be considered and given a chance to participate, because you will be taught by local people, the native speakers, and you will be working with other students who are also at a higher level, they're at the intermediate level. So that's what we want you to have by the time you are ready to go.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So I graduated this past spring semester, 2021. Mm-hmm. Would I be eligible to apply?
Yeah, for the Fulbright, yes, you can. If you provide it again, you are one of the best, we will consider your application, no problem. But you cannot apply for FLAS. You can apply for the Fulbright. The Fulbright will consider you, and there's no problem.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Any more questions from anyone in our participants? So this is being recorded. I do see a comment by Mahalet that her audio dropped off. So you will be able to go online and at the Center for African Studies and to see this and hear and see this presentation if you need to review something or you didn't get a chance to hear everything and had to leave. So again, I see a hand. Madison, did you have a question?
Madison?
She took her hand down, maybe she didn't. Did anybody else have a question?
I think I see Kevin's hand also.
Kevin, you still have a question or you had it?
Yes. I do have another one. So I know that you said you wouldn't speak too much on the academic year FLAS, but I was wondering, are you eligible to apply for that if you're seeking admission to Howard as a graduate student?
Yeah, you would be able to apply for, well, first you would not be eligible for the summer. You have to be a student. You have to be a student to apply for a FLAS. However, when the academic 2022-2023 year application comes up, and let's say you're applying for 2022-2023, whenever, so the application for FLAS is actually going to be the same time you're applying to get into the program. You can apply for both, as long as when you receive the FLAS, you are a student.
Okay, so I can apply for the academic year FLAS.
2022-2023. Yes.
Okay. Summer, however, I would not be.
No, you have to be
Unless you take summer classes.
but you can apply for the GPA.
Yes. All right. I'm relieved to hear that because, for a minute I thought that you would have to be enrolled at a university at the time of the application, but
No.
yeah, that's a big relief.
Yeah, but maybe can you tell us a little bit? Are you planning to continue at Harvard soon? I mean,
Yeah, so I graduated from Ohio University, but I'm interested in applying to Howard. So yeah, I'm interested in the African Studies program that has the master's.
yeah, very good. No, Ohio University is by the way, I went to Ohio University, so that is the place I went to, and I taught Swahili there. So I'm happy that you also came from there.
Yes, they've had a really big Swahili community. I was surprised to see much it extended.
Very good, very good.
So are there any more questions from our participants? Questions or comments? Dr. Mwaka, any closing comments you want to make?
No, just to encourage these students that we are here to serve them. We are here to make sure that you understand and know Africa pretty well. And through language, you are opening so many doors that you may have not know. I mean, you didn't know. What I encourage you also is to be functional in the languages. And this funding is to allow you to get to that level of functionality. So take every lesson that you have in an African language as a stepping stone to higher goals. And, in your career, in your life as a human being, you will always look back to these moments and say, wow, without, the opportunity I got at Howard, maybe I would never have seen this. So as you speak to Willa or as you listen to him, he knows a little bit of Swahili. He will be trying to continue to advance it. And his heart is also in African studies. He has his PhD from Harvard University in African studies. And so we love Africa, and we hope that we can help you to realize your own dreams as well.
Thank you, Dr. Mwaka. Well, thank you all for participating and listening at this information session. Again, I mentioned that this is being recorded, so you can always go to the website and listen again. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you both.
You too. Have a good evening too.
You too.